Hi, and welcome back to the...
Save that one. Save. Good.
Restart.
Take two.
Shut up and sit down.
I got on my bike.
We've got a great show lined up for you.
That is Champ Bailey, one of the best in the business.
To have a name like Champ kind of says it all.
Wanna put my helmet on. I got on my bike. I know my signal.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Duren. Pro tip, go listen to the outside. You're welcome.
I got my card to my spokes, and I'm waving to the folks who are uptown. Uptown, waving to the folks who are uptown.
Dude, sucking at something? First step toward being sort of good at something.
Riding on my bike. I put my
Evan Price for the win. Right down the middle.
signal right. Riding on my bike.
My name is Matt Legrand, and on this channel, we are always talking about biking.
Hi, welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Duren, and I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler.
Lance friggin' Hepler, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
And it's a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
It is a pleasure for me to be in your company.
It's a pleasure for us to be in your company.
It's a pleasure.
To Lance's left, some stranger walked in.
No, did he walk
Once,
in?
no.
Let's just be real. Let's be real here.
Kempton.
Mr. Evan Price.
Making my once every 3 months return, which actually will probably now be for the next about 8 weeks. I think I will be here moderately consistent.
Your injury is our benefit, so we'll take it.
Oh, geez. Glad to have you, Ben.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be back. I wanted to shove I got in yesterday and wanted to get back as soon as I can. So
Cool. And to Matt's center, and to his right and to his left, Mr. Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys look freaking. Well, let's just be honest.
No,
you don't look that
one's
great.
broken.
No.
Wait,
don't
two
look-
are broken.
You guys,
looking terrible.
you guys all look like broken old
We're
men.
like absolutely awful.
We all, if we turn this mirror around, it is an ugly sight. Okay.
All right, so today we're going to do the back pedal first because we got lots of stuff and things to talk about. However, we've got a hard time. I'm gonna keep you guys on a leash today.
we have to do it on 1.5 times. So it's like
yeah.
when you watch Ironman
Speed
World
it up.
Championship on like 2 times.
Do you
You're
think
like, okay, speed it up.
yeah. Do you think anyone listens to us on like 2x?
1.5.
Everybody does.
So 100%.
Stay on target.
Okay.
Too close. Stay on target.
Sweet.
It's never gonna happen.
All right, and then Matt does have things to get to today, so he may or may not have to
Yes.
leave a little bit early.
I
So
can
we're
always bolt.
gonna fly through this thing today. So Matt, why don't you start us off? Go.
Busy with cross country and making videos and family. My wife has COVID.
running.
And so,
Wait, so you just got sacked with all the dad duties too?
yeah.
You got dad duties.
And I got to go to the pharmacy and pick up some prescription for her like soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. Copy that.
Yep. So busy bees, man. Busy bees. Busy is good. Busy is good. But
How's the
sleeping-
Cameras Cross team looking?
It's going to be a rebuilding year, and that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry, just getting
There's
back
nothing
on
wrong with that.
just going back on their EPO cycle. And it'll be
Yeah.
all
We
fine.
need to cycle some, we need to cycle some good stuff.
Did I say that on this podcast? I probably should not say that.
All right,
Yep.
next two guys. Who wants to go first?
Lance, go.
Lance.
Okay, I will roll. I raced twice this weekend.
Ooh, okay.
Washougal cyclocross. There was Saturday. We had, oh my gosh, it was so fantastic to be out at Washougal this weekend. We had literally like 60 teammates show up because we did have an end of the year party
Yep.
associated with the race.
How was the party?
It was great. We had tons of food and tons of people there. And
Was
I
there any
think
heckling involved?
there was much heckling happening. It was
my favorite part.
It
of
was so
cyclocross.
good.
The
So much good
The only
heckling.
reason I want to do cyclocross is for the heckling.
Dude, it's the best, man. That's why you do cyclocross, to make fun of your friends and the other people around you. So, so that was great to have everybody there. I raced the 50 plus field and this is a difficult field. On lap 1, Rick Metz, who is my frenemy,
Frenemy.
He's such a great dude, but I can't ever beat him. Well, on lap 1, he crashed right in front of me. So I beat him. Woohoo!
Still counts.
man.
Still counts, 100%.
But what's funny is He crashed on lap 1. He washed out in a gravel section. I almost had to bunny hop him to miss him. Mike Hamness
Just
had
right over him.
Yeah, well, I still like the guy. He's actually a good dude, so I wouldn't want to like make it
Even
worse.
better than at that point, just right straight over his arm.
But he was able to jump up and rally, and by lap 6, he was like 5 seconds behind me. He almost caught me.
Yeah, he's racing red at that point.
Yeah,
He was angry.
If he had like one more lap, he would have gotten me.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Still counts as a win.
Yeah.
That's a win.
I didn't win the race. John McCaffrey, whom was also a guy I have a hard time beating. He caught me on like lap 4 and passed me. So I ended up second.
Did you race Saturday and Sunday?
I raced Saturday and Sunday. I showed up Sunday. Rick Metz did not crash, so I did not beat him. And I ended up third on Sunday.
Nice work.
Behind John McCaffrey and
David.
Rick Metz.
Do you remember if David Goodman raced on Sunday?
David Goodman did race.
Yes,
Yeah.
he
How did
messaged
he
me
do?
too. Yeah.
So he had a great time.
I think he had a crash. Didn't he crash?
Everybody crashed.
Yeah,
Everybody crashes.
Yeah.
Lost his front wheel.
Yeah, he lost his. He
His
washed
wheel.
out a little bit.
washed out. Gotcha. I don't know cyclocross terms. But
Yeah.
he could have literally lost his front wheel, and that would mean the same thing to me.
Anyway, so I had a great weekend. I had a blast. The racing was fantastic. We had tons of teammates out there. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Cassie said she had a blast watching.
yeah. Cassie came out
Yep.
for the party. She showed
Absolutely.
up too. We had a ton of people there. That was so cool. I think we had Team Envy all day.
I've been trying to get as many juniors to do. I mean, the ones who are doing it are enjoying it. So hopefully they continue to convince others to do it.
So it was good. Rolling. That's it. I'm out.
Nice. That was good.
Nice. Evan, you've got
Oh, I'm not going to beat that. Okay, here we go.
you
real
got a
quick.
minute and a half.
Well, the last 2
Michigan?
months of my life. Here we go. So I just had a race on Sunday in the wonderful city of Frankfort, Michigan, which anybody who's gone to Michigan, actually, Frankfurt's a beautiful town. Michigan is a way underrated state. There's like lake life all over Michigan, which is really cool. So it's near Traverse City.
Okay.
So
I was
Ironman
gonna say,
put
I didn't
this.
know where that was.
This
Traverse
is a
City, I
new
know where
race.
Traverse
So
City is.
it's a new Ironman race. In the first year, they decided to put a pro field in, which was great. Some bigger names came out for it, which made it a fun race. It was like Lionel, Jackson Laundry, Trevor Foley, Sam
wow.
Appleton was there,
wow.
Matt Sharp.
Stacked.
So like the Canadian squad came out for sure. Blast of a race. Went into it feeling great. Probably the best. I say this a lot, but this was legitimately the best fitness I've ever had. And went into this race knowing that this is going to build to an Ironman I was planning on doing in November. And I still got 2 races this year. So I was like, okay, we're just building the fitness and we're feeling great. Had a terrible swim. I won't go into the details. That it was very cold water. The swim start was very crowded, and these swim starts are so violent. And I just got bodied and
Very
boxed
cold.
out and missed the feet. So had to swim by myself. Came out in 29 low, which is not where I need to be. I need to be in the 27s now. So 29 low is not a good start to the day.
It's not horrible.
Yeah, but where my swim fitness is at right now, it was a D plus swim. It was bad. So came out really angry and ready to ride hard. And of course, my power meter doesn't couple, so we'll just say I pushed 600 watts on the bike.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I mean, so all I was focusing on was speed because I've been doing a lot of CDA work. That's actually why I miss a lot of these. Is a couple of the sessions I've had on with the meter that you have with Josh Sutton at Outsplit Speed Labs. What's the name of the meter that the aero meter?
Well, there's a couple of different aero meters.
The white one that attaches to the front.
You're working on your
Aerolab.
aerodynamics.
Aerolab, yes,
Aerolab.
exactly.
So that's interesting that he has a little aero sensor.
Yep, and he's starting to use it for more people at Output Speed Labs. But me and Josh were kind of
Are you doing
his
it?
first.
You're not doing it at the track. You're doing it at
No, we have a space in Marine Drive that we're using.
Marine
it.
Drive.
Yep. So we've been testing a lot of stuff. I got my CDA very solid, right? Very, very solid right now. So
It messes you up if traffic passes.
yeah, we had a lot of different factors that he had to figure out.
Just do it at
but-
midnight, right? You're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, just very early in the morning in an area. It was a park area, so it's actually very low traffic. But
Blue Lake or something.
yeah, actually that would be perfect as Blue Lake area. But we had that locked in, so I hopped on the bike in Michigan and had on a hilly course probably my best bike I've had as a pro. I went 208 completely solo. I just was trying to chase the pack in front of me. Lost no time to them, but did not bridge, and then got off. And after a lot of power riding by yourself, it's hard to run well, but I ran as well as I have off a hard bike probably ever. I ran 117 low. Course was a little long, so it was probably in the 116s for the half. And, got to the finish line feeling amazing. Had beat 2 guys that I've been working on a while to beat too. So, I wasn't as far up the field as I wanted to be, but definitely had a great race. And then sat down in a chair that a volunteer pulled up for me. And I'm not trying to exaggerate, guys. My leg felt perfectly fine 3 seconds before this. Talked with some buddies. We all get up to stand up and move. And all of a sudden my hip just kind of locks up on me. Really not able to put weight on it. Kind of confusing. I mean, it had felt tight the 2 days before, but nothing out of the ordinary from what I'm used to going into a race.
So you did the whole race.
Oh yeah.
You did the whole run. What was your time?
My half marathon time was 1:16 high.
That's fantastic. So super fast.
I closed the last mile in sub
like
5:30.
Yeah, it's basically averaging about somewhere around 5:50.
You broke 4 hours.
5:45,
You broke
5:50,
4 hours for the half Ironman, which is also super fast.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, you
couldn't walk.
You can't walk.
Yeah. And I'm not making this story up. This is actually what happened.
He came into the podcast with crutches.
Yeah, I've been non-weight bearing the last 3
days.
Did
you buy a crutch?
No, Cassie had some crutches. Luckily, we have some crutches.
How'd you get through the airport yesterday?
That is a story. I will keep that as brief as possible. I'm not going to lie, guys. I've had a very blessed life. That was one of the hardest things I've done in my life. I had a connector that was literally 5 minutes boarding once we landed in Chicago. I used my roller. So I told them, I was like, I might need a wheelchair when I get there. They're like, don't worry, we'll have it there. I get off the plane. Somebody took my wheelchair. So I'm not trying to say any mean things, but the guy was so mad at this. She lied and said that her name was Evan Price to get into this wheelchair. She's an obese lady who did not want to walk. I passed her as I was going by. I've never in my life wanted to hit another human being. I wanted to push her out of this chair. I'm a medical pro. I wanted to push her out of this chair. I wanted to be like, you should be so ashamed of yourself. But she took my chair. So I had to make it across the Chicago airport. It took me about 12 minutes. Guys, I looked, it was the most embarrassing, disheartening 12 minutes of my entire life. Everybody's looking at me. I look awful. I had to peg leg.
Hobbling.
I am hobbling, and it was incredibly painful. I mean, it was at some point it wasn't painful because at some point my brain just shut off. It was just like, all right, this is happening. We're just doing this. But the gate that I had to use to get across the airport to make it, I made it literally as they're closing the door. So that was not ideal, but definitely a sign that I was like, this is not good. Like, this does not feel right. This is bad. This is very bad. Also, roller suitcases make a halfway decent crutch if anybody is ever in an emergency. Right. Totally they actually make a halfway decent crutch. They do. But yeah, got home.
You got home last night?
Yesterday afternoon. Yeah. So right away, went to urgent care, got an x-ray. They actually had an ortho there. So I got a referral to an ortho. She knew right. I mean, I told her everything. I was like, okay, we know probably what this is. And then I have a MRI on Sunday. So
that's good. That's fast.
Very fast.
That's very fast.
Yeah.
I mean, to get an MRI scheduled, it's not that easy.
My
X-ray showed nothing.
Nothing. No. And that's if it's a femoral neck stress fracture, an X-ray is usually not going to show. Right. If an X-ray shows it, I'm in trouble because that means it's a wildly unstable fracture.
Break
it's a big time break. Yeah. So this is probably a stress fracture. I prepared myself. I spent 30 minutes in the sauna today already. Swam 2,500. I'm doing everything I can. I've got my whole rehab is the only thing I can think about right now. But yeah, that probably is the death sentence to my season. I am hoping.
But your season's kind of done. Except for one race.
He was going to do one more.
There was just
you were going to do one more half
Ironman.
and one more
One little race.
Yeah.
One little race.
Dude, those were 2 big points races, though. This was going to be big. This was going to be big.
Dude, that's real life, man.
It is. And that's why.
You're getting old.
All you got to. Oh, no. No, I'm not letting that happen. Trust me.
Getting old.
I'm swimming 2 days a week.
You're just like Jake. No. Hey, you want to come to my ortho appointment with me tomorrow for my hip?
2 weeks.
Maybe we can get a BOGO for the MRI this weekend.
6 days out from that surgery, I will be back on the bike and back doing intervals within 4 weeks. I am not letting this. No, I need to be fitter than ever next year. So
6 weeks is probably what you're looking at for if it's
5 weeks to the boost treadmill. I'll be on the boost probably 4 or 5 weeks.
Do you have one at your
running
PT clinic?
Yes, we do.
That's not too bad. You got all the tools, man.
Oh, I've got every. I am very lucky to have everything.
I think get in that boost quick.
Yeah. Anybody can come and use it. You guys can buy sessions actually at Evolution. It's worthwhile. It's a very, very, very cool tool.
It would be nice for me to
get back to my old weight.
Get some strides in.
Matt, you still look great.
No, thank you.
You do. I was going to say you're looking better. Really, you look good.
Yeah. I appreciate the lies. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
You want to swim with me now? You'll smoke me in the pool. I can't push off the wall. It's kind of a circle tap is what we got going on now.
Your one leg push.
I got a system down at work today. Okay. My lats are killing me.
I will
2,500
swim with you. I haven't swam.
2,500 pull is really freaking hard. But
I haven't swam in a long time. We could just swim distance and test some like headphones. I've been meaning to test like underwater headphones.
I got nothing else to do. So
I'm going to go real quick. I'm going to go real quick so we can jump into our topic for the day. I watched a lot of people race bikes.
Yes, you did.
Nice.
I walked about 20, almost 1 miles, according to my watch.
Jesus, oh my God.
Taking pictures of people riding bikes and helping people fix their bikes. So
21.
Jake was at the race, both races this weekend, all day, from beginning to end, and took pictures and helped out. And
yeah, both days I got there at about 6:15 in the morning, and we got out of there between 4 and 5 o'clock at night on the 2 days, and basically spent the whole day helping people fix bikes or taking pictures or hanging out with the team. And it was a blast. I am still pissed that I wasn't able to race, but it is what it is.
Wait, I forgot the best story of the weekend.
Let's hear
What's
it.
that?
Let's hear it.
We were all sitting around the tent, and I was drinking an Orange
Oh,
Crush.
geez, here we go. Yep.
Those Orange Crush are way worse for you than beer.
Yeah,
and
I know.
alcohol.
I know it's straight sugar.
It's it was like they're like 42 grams of sugar in
So
one of
much
those.
sugar.
I only know because like my kid had one, and I was like, wait, let me check and see if that has caffeine because it was at night. I looked at it, and then I was like, let me just see the sugar here, and it was 40 something grams of sugar, and I was
You know what's
whoa.
worse than the sugar content of an Orange Crush? Let Lance finish the story.
Let's hear this. Let's hear this.
So I'm about to take a drink of the Orange Crush. We're all standing around talking. Jake's trying to say something funny, and I go to take a swig of the Orange Crush, and there was a bee on the rim of my soda can.
Was it a bee or a hornet?
It was a hornet.
Yeah, because there's hornets everywhere out there.
And I did not see it
Oh, no.
because I was looking at Jake in his steely dark eyes.
Of course, as one does.
He is looking very tan. I will say so. He's looking California tan.
I go take a swig, and the hornet stings my lip, and
You deserve that.
I spewed. It stings me right on the lip, and I spewed Orange Crush all over Jake.
Yeah.
Just like bathed Jake in Orange Crush. And he's like, "What the hell, dude? That wasn't
Did he bathe you?
funny."
It wasn't that funny, Lance.
Did he bathe you in the hornet too? Like, did he spew the hornet straight at you?
It probably bounced off my head. I
The
don't know.
stinger was still hanging on my lip. Yeah.
Don't hornets
That's
die
actually
after they sting? They die after they sting, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a pretty common thing for people to have like sugary drinks, and it attracts the.
Yeah, I
and
remember
they go
that.
in there, and ugh.
Yeah, I got
That's a
nailed.
surprise.
And
You,
then
how
Jake
come your
took
lip
work
isn't
to-
not not huge?
It was for about 6 hours.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I
It
actually
calmed down after
I had to leave like immediately.
Yeah.
I was sticking around to watch races, and I had to bail.
Yeah, Lance sent me a picture of himself laying in bed later that night, like on his back with his lip all puffed
all
up. I
puffed
asked
up.
him, I'm like, hey, how's your lip doing? He's like, sends me a picture, it's all puffed up. And what did you say? Something like, I look like a disheveled old man and your lip was all beat up. I think we might have some cover art for the podcast.
Oh,
this
that's a
week.
perfect cover.
I mean, I looked beat up, and I'm like half shaven, and my hair's a wreck, and my lip is swollen, and
That's a good like '90s metal album cover. You know, that's
Wow. Good times.
You just put like an eye patch on you too.
all right, that's it.
Anyway,
I blew chunks.
That's what she said. Excuse me? That's what she said.
Oh, quite over the chunks.
All right.
I'm sorry. All right. We're not doing a topic this week because we're going to do the hot seat. You guys want to do a hot seat?
Hot seat.
All right.
If we had said no, you would have been like,
yeah,
too bad.
Too bad. So let's
That's hot. That's hot.
Well,
That's hot.
sorry, I was searching for that. That's who wants to go first? Who's got a good question?
All right, I got one.
Matt's got one. Matt's going to go first.
This is not a great question, but do you guys think? So there's been another crash. Aero tuck TT
You freaking
position.
took my question, Matt.
Yep.
I'm glad I went first.
Dang it, I'll have to come up with
Do you
something
think
else.
Mips picked that up?
The MIPS.
Okay, explain what happened.
Okay, so Stefan Küng, is that how you say his name?
Stefan Küng.
A
Küng.
very good time
Thank you.
trialist.
Had some sort of horrific crash in Aero tuck, concussion, fractures. He's been pretty beat up. He's not the first or the last person for this to happen to, right? Like Egan Bernal, right? That was the same situation. Aero tuck into a truck.
Was he doing this training or was this in a
No,
race?
this was
it can't be in a race. Can it?
Yes, in the European Time Trial Championship.
Oh, you can do it there.
This was during the European. It was like full on. He was going full gas.
Oofed.
He had clipped like a metal barrier. He didn't see the metal barrier coming.
He had his head down because it's more aero to have your head down, and he was following the white line. And the barriers in this one section jutted out into the road. He didn't lift his head. It was too late, and he drilled the barriers.
So he finished the race, which is ridiculous.
He finished the race.
The aero helmet was completely shattered, and there was blood all over his face and jersey, supposedly.
Correct. Yes.
So here's my question. Do you guys think that they're just going to cut time trials from these, Grand Tours, European Championships, things like that? Because they really could. They really could. There was what, two of... Oh, I don't want to see this. Oh, this is worse. What's worse?
He shattered the front of his helmet.
album cover.
Wow.
Or our album
That's
art
metal.
with lances.
That's metal right there.
It's got blood all over his jersey.
That's a Soundgarden album.
that could also be our cover for this podcast. But so many choices. So I really do think that they could cut TTs from a lot of cycling and be fine.
Sacrilege.
Yeah, no,
I know.
Don't cut the TTs.
I'm asking. I'm asking. Hot seat question.
Yeah,
let's start with Lance since he's already thought about this.
People get passionate about this.
Lance,
go.
Could they cut it?
No, they
could
can't.
never cut it.
No, they couldn't ever cut it.
What amount of blood?
God, are me and Lance going to agree on something?
It's part of these stage races. If you don't have a time trial, they're going to be. It's going to be what happened at the Tour of Britain. The stage is going to be, won by like 3 seconds. Difference because people can stay with each other unless there's big mountain stages. So
big mountain stages are needed. Yeah,
you have to be a well-rounded rider in order to win a multi-stage race, and that includes individual time trials.
And I think too, I know that they've talked about just taking away the time trial bike.
Yep.
I do not like. Here's the reason I don't like that is I agree with Lance, and I think a underrated, not underrated, an important part of cycling is your ability with aerodynamics. So here's the bottom line: you can look at a Sepp Kuss during the Vuelta position versus a Remco. Remco has an excellent. I hate Remco, but he has an excellent position. He has to work very, very hard on that. And I think cycling is inherently the development of cycling has been big on how can we make the human go as fast as possible on a two-wheeled machine.
Yep.
And if we take away the time trial bike, we're going from, what Filippo, I would hate to take away what Filippo Ganna's done recently. He is going insanely fast in these time trials. And I love
that's an interesting argument
that's going that direction. I would hate if they're just like end it. And then all of a sudden some guy going 28 miles an hour.
They could do time trials and they could do them on their road bikes. And the thing is like, it's a fine line to be like, okay, well, you can use this TT bike.
They're still going to be dangerous on road bikes.
They absolutely will.
They will.
But there's less of that like head tuck and not look where you're going and things like that.
They'd still
probably
do it. These
would.
guys want to.
They want to win.
They will do any. Like Stefan Küng, even in that moment, all he's thinking is get back on the bike. I need to win because he's a favorite to win the European. Like I get that it's terrifying, but yeah, this video is cool.
Oh, I don't know if I want to watch this.
It's bad. It's bad. Yeah, he clips, boom, hits his head. That's where the.
Yeah, that hurt.
And you know what? I know a lot of people have been talking too about the biggest hot seat thing is the concussion protocol. There basically is non-existent in cycling. There technically is, but it really is not. He basically just hopped right back on his bike and goes.
Correct.
Cycling, in my opinion, is still an old world sport. It operates. Its dogma is still old world. Don't be surprised, people. Come on. This is. I know that people can get on it, but
you can't be like, oh, after every crash, we need to check for concussions.
Yeah.
You could throw that rule out there, but then people are like, no, I'm getting back on the bike.
It's not going to work.
I got to get back on the bike. I got to get.
And that's just the mentality of professional cyclists.
Race.
You can't convince somebody to care about their own long-term mental health if they are committed to winning. That's the bottom line.
I think you could easily draw a line in the sand and be like, no, we're using road bikes. TT bikes are gone from.
That's the direction I'm afraid that they're going to go.
You could easily do that because the industry would be like, good, we don't have to make these weird bikes that we only sell a couple of.
Correct.
And
that are super expensive.
Teams, right?
And they have to bring an
have
extra freaking van full of 8 more, 10 more time trial bikes.
All these teams could do that. Yep. And they could still get into some sort of aero tuck semi-position or whatever, but you're still, all of your arguments are like, okay, well, aerodynamics is still important. You're just eliminating a bike. You still have rules about the ways the bikes can go. No one's ever said like, okay, well, we want these cyclists to go as fast as possible. These bikes should be flexible, and we should have different types of bikes because we would all be riding recumbent bikes if that was the case, and that's against certain rules as well. And so if we're going to stop recumbent bikes, why not stop TT bikes?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Matt makes some good points, and you're already starting to see it in some of the more amateur races. I don't think it's because they think it's an unsafe thing. It's because just a lot of people don't have TT bikes anymore these days.
Yep.
And if you do want to have a TT bike, oh my gosh, they are ridiculously expensive. So do I want to spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000?
You can still make a road bike very, very fast. If you put on clip-ons, your own body is 85% of drag is your own body.
Yes,
so 15% is all the bike's giving you. So
right.
you can still be here's the bottom line. If you take the TT bikes away, all these teams, you think Jumbo Visma is going to be like, oh well, aerodynamics doesn't matter anymore. No, they're going to get into dangerous positions on the road bike.
Sure.
For sure. Actually, it might be more dangerous.
And it's even interesting to think about time trial bikes.
Narrow they're going to go those bars.
How much of a disadvantage?
They're going to go crazy narrow.
How much of a disadvantage would it be for a pro triathlete to be like, oh, I'll just be on a road bike and everyone else is on their TT bike?
Freaking terrible. No. I mean like you mean like no clip-ons and just on a narrow bike?
Yep.
Oh yeah, you're losing 3 miles an hour.
It's ridiculous.
Maybe more.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think
especially the direction our sport's going now with we're shoving bottles down our jerseys.
Yep.
I'm wearing aero socks. I mean, I've worked the crap out of my position, but we all say it's your body's 85% of that.
Yes.
So at least in the triathlon world, I'll tell you what is cost. We laugh at that a lot because I'm like, dude, I've seen guys on Franken bikes that duct tape portions and they roll. So you're just complaining and making up.
But a lot of times I think it's the position on that bike. Like, yes, it's the body, your body itself that's 70% of the aerodynamic drag. But those bikes allow you to be in a position which puts you. At least this is what I've noticed with myself.
That's what I'm saying. The road bike industry would, I think, start to change then. So they
you could change the bike or something, or have bikes with a little bit more flexibility.
Jumbo Visma would figure out something with Cervelo if they were like, "Hey, we're gonna have a 40K time trial, but no time trial bikes." We're going to see a weird road bike.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a weird
shift forward the seat.
Like Pogacar and Vingegaard are going to be on some incredibly strange looking road bike.
Unless the UCI steps in and says it has to be in this certain geometry spectrum.
And do we want the UCI doing that?
No.
I mean, because this is the thing. It's like
the direction that they seem to be heading is less rules for bikes from the UCI.
No, because now they've got the whole. Well, they took away puppy paws. They took away. I mean, there's like multiple things they've
taken away things, but they I think have adjusted. I think they adjusted setback positions for seats and things like that.
That's going to be the thing that gets messed around with.
When where I was going before you guys
go ahead.
Yeah,
took over. Was you're starting to see the amateur races do away with it because they're having a hard time getting people to come out. So if you're saying come out and do this stage race where you're going to do a time trial and you need to be on a TT bike to be competitive, and a lot of people are like, I just don't have a TT bike. If I show up, I'm automatically going to concede minutes there. Yeah. And now they're saying, well, our TTs are only Eddie. So like for instance, the Baker City Classic,
correct?
They're just doing it on road bikes in the Eddie division so that they can attract more people to come out. Two things are happening. That's helping them get a few more people coming out because they don't need that TT bike. Plus, that's less people then going out and buying TT bikes, which is pushing even more pressure on the manufacturers to make even less of those bikes because people are already not wanting to buy them because they're too expensive or too scarce or what have you. And I think if you start to see that more and more, there's going to be less people that are going to be riding these bikes and getting the experience so that when they do get to a station to maybe be able to compete at a pretty high level, they're not going to have the skills to ride that bike. They're not going to have the time on that bike. And they're going to start to see some more crashes. And then governing bodies are going to look at this and saying, this isn't safe. We're just going to get rid of them just like the amateurs. And I think that's probably the direction that you'll probably end up seeing it going.
I don't think there's any reason to have a TT bike separate from a triathlon bike. Just rebrand it. There's no reason to call it a triathlon bike. Call it a time trial bike. Each company comes up with that. Us triathletes buy them. There's no reason for an amateur race to have TT bikes.
Rules
there's no reason a local stage race should have some dude just buying a TT bike for that race. There's no reason. Those should all be Eddie.
Technically, you can't ride a TT or a triathlon bike and a
UCI
TT
needs to change their rules.
Exactly,
I know why, but UCI needs to realize what's happening here and be like, okay, why would a company make a separate TT UCI's legal bike and a triathlon bike? UCI figure it out, make the rules the same. Okay, pros are riding triathlon bikes then, basically.
Sure.
There's really, I mean, the only difference is the seat setback. There's really like a couple other rules. I know that there's with the front end too. Yeah, but
there's beam bikes and all kinds of weird triathlon bikes.
Make the rules meet in the middle. Triathlon is the wild, wild west. We can do anything on our bikes. UCI needs to realize that these bike companies can't make two separate models. It's not financial sense. So just make it meet in the middle.
I agree.
What do you think, Matt? Do you think that pro cycling does away with time trial bikes?
Do I think they will? No. Do I think they should? I think it should probably be talked about, and I think that money talks, and a lot of the bike companies
it doesn't make sense for them to make a specific TT bike.
I love seeing them on TT bikes. That's fine and well. If they went to a road bike, I'd be fine with that too, because it's relative. Everybody's going to be on the same kind of a bike. They're still going to be going fast, just not as fast. And at the end of the day, they're still racing, right?
And do we save a couple of people from basically like
I don't think it's going to
crashes?
save anybody. I think with the positions they try to get into on the road bike, I think it'd be just as dangerous. I mean,
I don't disagree.
Aerodynamics is aerodynamics. They're still going to need to get into that turtle shell position, bottom line. Yeah.
Interesting.
And actually, I think the TT bike's safer in that position because it's a lot more control. I think on the road bike, it's a weirder position to get into.
Yeah, because you don't have anything up there to control.
You don't have that long access to control it then. Yeah. So
interesting. That's a good question, Matt.
Well, thanks, Lance, for almost stealing your question.
Your question's going to suck now, Lance, compared to that.
Okay, so mine's obviously related. Should Stefan Küng, should he have continued?
From a doctor health standpoint, no.
He got a concussion, was for sure concussed.
Yeah, his helmet was shattered. His face mask was gone. He's bleeding, and he broke some bones.
I didn't see if he was actually diagnosed with a concussion, though.
I think so.
That's what they said, yeah.
It's kind of hard to look at
I saw that he had orbital, but you can also get a lot of orbital fractures without a concussion.
So here's the thing: he's clear
fractures to his hand and skull after a.
I would say from a medical standpoint, absolutely not, right? Because here's the thing: when you're in that state, you're highly likely to crash again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that could have been even worse. It didn't happen to him, but
how do you stop it? How do you stop it?
How do you stop someone? Yeah.
I don't.
Get off the bike.
He's not
going
to
to
stop.
know where I am.
He's not going to stop. That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, like, should he have stopped? I'm going to say no because it's Stefan Küng, and we know that's what he's going to do. Should he have been stopped? Maybe, but I don't know what the protocol is to get a guy.
Right.
I mean,
How
that's
do
the
you
European
know?
Championships. He's been working his butt off for that. Let's say I don't know how much he had left, but let's say it was close. Let's say it was 3K left, and he's got 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? No, stop. We need to do an assessment. It's a time trial.
He was one of the favorites going into it, but I don't know where he ended up.
Where did he finish?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. I know he didn't win, but
I don't know.
What do you think, Matt?
Oh, I think from a health standpoint, yeah, they should have figured out a way to stop him and protect his health. I think that's probably utmost importance. No one wants to see someone else die because they had a concussion and they didn't stop him, and then he hit something else, and then it's pretty bad. And then we all know about like the permanent brain damage that can happen from multiple concussions like that. I don't see a realistic way to stop anyone.
No,
he still finished 11th.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Out of 40.
Wow.
I just don't see a way to stop anyone. I don't. In the way things are currently set up, I don't see how they're going to do that.
No.
It's not like doctors out there following a peloton. These are individuals, and you can't send a doctor with every person. So
how would you assess someone?
Yeah, there's no way you could stop him and have it happen. It's on the athlete, and if he made the decision in that moment, I'm hopping back on the bike, then that is his decision.
Was there
hard
a vehicle following him? Not a camera vehicle, though?
There was a camera vehicle with him.
Well, yeah, because we saw the camera, but that's
not the camera.
Yeah, it was
vehicle.
like I guess it's not a team thing, but would they have?
He's one of the favorites, so he may have had a medical. He might have had a medical car close to him.
What's the fastest concussion you could do? Like, tell me what day it is. You know, like what's the fastest concussion? Like
actually,
double check that you could possibly do.
So funny enough, I just got certified in this actually. So there,
draw a clock.
The most current accurate is actually dizziness. So if you have the concussion and you get up and there is immediate, it's actually not blacking out.
Right.
Blacking out is not the most indicative of a significant concussion. Neither is memory retention. The most important measure we have right now through testing is dizziness. So here's the bottom line: I think he's
it'd be great if someone could have been over there.
Once these guys get up, and if they're dizzy on the bike, I would hope 99.9% of even your most elite guys are going to be like, I got to step off the bike right now.
Yeah.
But that's your sign. Now, here's the bottom lines. I mean, I'm not going to go into myself here, but I've explained on this before. I do have some post-concussive symptoms that have lasted for a long time. There are once you get one, you know. Like, I mean, if you're 20 or 30 concussions in, you definitely know that symptom. I'm sure this is not his first go. I'm sure Stefan Küng's been a professional for a while. I guarantee you that man has had 10 concussions in his life for sure. He knows the symptoms when I don't feel right. So even with how brutal those fractures look, he might have gotten on the bike. He was still flying after that. He might not have felt dizzy. Mm-hmm. He might have been decently mentally clear.
And sometimes you feel better if you're a cyclist. You sometimes feel better when you're up and moving.
Oh my God. Yeah. You hit the ground, you can get up feeling clear. But that's, that guy's a seasoned professional. I think he knows himself well. If he threw himself back on that bike and said, I'm going to go, that's his
You're not going to
that's his
stop
decision.
that.
Yeah.
You can't stop that.
Unless you like got
and
in
who's
front
gonna
of him
ride up
and-
next to him and be
right.
like, Stefan, I mean, he is like, sorry, he's like.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, no,
you,
sorry.
you ride up next
Yeah.
to him and like, hey, settle down, Stefan.
Yeah.
You're done.
His
You-
heart rate's
yeah.
like 185.
Yeah,
He's
you're like,
head locked
F
in.
that.
He's
Get out
not
of my way.
listening to you.
Yeah.
He's just going to
he
ride
is.
around you.
What are you going to
Yeah.
do? Push him off the bike and be like, well, forcefully stop you.
I would be curious to know if there's like a protocol that they all have to follow, or if there's training that goes into everybody that's surrounded in cycling, even the cyclists, just to know and understand the dangers and
There's
how
medical training. Yeah. But it's very much, he'd have to sit down and there'd have to be multiple tests. He'd have to fill out stuff. So it's.
And usually it's like, all right, it's a lot of like coming back to the sport protocol kind of stuff where it's like you need to have
post-hoc.
exactly.
A lot of it's post hoc. So yeah.
Yep. All right.
And also NFL, you have time.
Gotcha.
If somebody just has it, you can take over the sideline.
Whistle goes, exactly.
Evan, you got a question for us?
Yes. Okay. So
Yes, we love Remco.
Yes, we all love Remco.
how bad on a scale of 1 to 100 is Remco Evenepoel? That's high. Okay. No. So, okay. Going to the Vuelta. Now, you guys might have actually talked about this already. Is Jumbo Visma, is this year, 2023, the GC team for Jumbo Visma, exclude the classics? Is this the greatest GC team in cycling history?
Yes. Yes.
That
I have
is-
some
that is
history
clean?
for us to consider.
I think
Are they
yes.
clean? Do we know?
We don't. We assume they're clean.
I'm saying they're clean, but I don't know.
No, we don't. Let's not
Podium
assume they're
sweep
clean.
at the Vuelta.
They're not clean.
Winners of
Three
all
different
three
guys.
Grand Tours with 3 different people, and
Yes.
they had multiple people on the podium for both of the Giro and the Tour, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, wait.
Was the Tour who came in second and third? I mean, it was Jonas, and then it was Pogačar, and
then
was
no,
it Yates? Was it Yates?
Oh God, I should
At
know
the
this.
Tour?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was Simon. Yeah, Simon was third, right?
Well, stinking
Yes.
close. So
Yeah.
top 10.
Yeah.
Dude, it is hard to say that
Yeah.
that's not the greatest team of all times. And if you look at the stuff that they were able to accomplish in each one of those races, that's insane.
They won a lot of stages.
I
too.
also vote yes, and I think that we're going to hear a little bit of history, hopefully, and we're going to hear a lot of teams that have really, really good 2-person leaders,
Yep.
but we're not going to hear
There's never been a
any.
3.
There's 3.
Matt nailed that. I actually tried to do some digging on the
right?
lot of
Because-
time I had the last 3 days. No, but there's not been a 3-headed GC monster before.
Yeah.
Now, there's been a 3-headed GC contender, even from Movistar a couple years ago, but wildly not successful contenders.
But was that the intention going in? I don't think it was. I don't think
Lance is right.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think Jumbo's intention going in was Sepp is one of the 3-headed monsters
No,
we've
he
got.
was
It
not.
was you get in the break. We're going to do the best we can for the break. Oh wait, you now have a lead. Let's protect
And
it.
then
Do you know who was a GC contender above Sepp going into the year? Krushwick. He wasn't even number 3 for them. And I would even guess maybe Robbie Jessink was considered number 4.
Guessing,
Sepp
yeah.
was top 5. Guessing, my bad. Sepp was 5 or 4 at
I
best.
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably true.
And I think that there's.
I think Wout might have been. I mean, they really might have even
Maybe.
considered. They're like, Wout, lose 10 pounds and you're going to be the Vuelta guy.
Yeah. And I just think there's so much pressure too, not external pressure from the team, not from the team. I mean, whereas you're seeing such a public push, Sepp for GC. There was just a hashtag trending.
Yeah.
It was pressure
exploded.
that was
It just
beyond what
exploded.
Jumbo Visma could do. They
and even the Peloton, they're like,
Yeah,
hey,
even within the Peloton.
I mean,
If Sepp isn't such a nice guy, do you think he wins the Vuelta?
maybe
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 not.
not.
Do you
He
think
was
more
a
people
jerk.
hate him and there's Roglic goes up the road, they're like, let him go.
Yeah.
Go, Roglic.
right.
No, but Sepp's the nicest guy ever, so they're all like, what are you guys doing?
It's just so unique.
The
It's just
only
so
other
unique.
teams, just to give some to this hot seat question, the only other teams that can be considered for this, Merckx's teams I won't include because it was just Eddie. I mean, he was the one-headed monster. Okay, so all the Grand Tours he was winning through that short time period. I know he won 3 in a calendar year, technically not 3 in the same season, but Mappé at one point was a classics monster, but also an amazing GC team. But that was before Team Caps. So Mappé in I might get the year wrong, I think it was the 80s, was primarily their dominance into part of the 90s. They had a massive team because they had a huge budget. So they would go to Grand Tours and win stupid amount of stages. I mean, they were and I forget who was their leaders at that time. They had won Grand Tours too. They are the one team that could be, because it was over a time period, they were so dominant. And it is important to consider Lance's team. So when we're talking Discovery and US Postal, yes, they did not do anything in the Giro and Vuelta.
Yeah.
But their dominance in the Tour during that time, I mean, there was a Tour that Lance won by 7 minutes. So that era and then the Sky Team Train are the only other options you can look at in history.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, these are
Gosh,
close.
I feel like there's one other one that we're overlooking.
In the 50s, 60s,
Greg
and 70s,
LeMond.
there were teams.
He was on a team with
Hinault.
Yes,
with Bernard
so that's
Hinault. But that's a two-headed monster.
That's a two-headed monster that's pretty impressive.
It's close, and I would say probably them and the United Postal Service train to me were very comparable.
Maybe you're right about Sky with having Bradley Wiggins
and Froome was a monster.
That was a
and remember Richie,
Richie
Port. So they were a three-headed monster.
Yep.
The problem with that equation was Froome wasn't into his prime yet, and Richie just
loves to crash.
I love Richie. We all know on this podcast I love Richie Port, but
we all like Richie
I
Port.
mean, Sepp is the much better Grand Tour rider.
Yeah.
I think even after winning the Vuelta, I think that Sepp's the way more consistent.
I don't know if that's a clear line in the sand like you're saying.
I think he will be by the end of his career.
Okay.
You're right. It's not clear yet. Richie was still a great Grand Tour rider who
crashed.
just never was able to seal a deal. He could just never seal the deal.
How many phone calls do you think Jumbo Visma is getting right now
For
to
Sepp?
see if they'd
All
be
from
interested?
EF.
Yeah, probably.
EF is calling him 5 times a day.
His,
right now.
his contract could be bought out. He has another year on his contract with Jumbo, but another team could come in and buy his contract out.
Can we be realistic?
Why would he leave?
He's not. If he leaves and goes to EF, he's not going to win any Grand
Right.
Tours.
I agree with Matt.
Even Ineos, even if he was Ineos has the money where they could buy out his contract.
He would have a better chance at Ineos than he would.
He
anywhere.
would, but
I think Ineos is going to go
enough.
after Roglic.
Yes,
It's possible.
I think
That would be-
Ineos is going to
Talk about that.
retire G and they're going to go after Roglic.
That'd be a smart purchase.
I think Roglic is the better purchase between Sepp and him, and I love.
think so too.
I think Sepp's amazing.
Well-
I think Sepp needs to stay put.
Okay, Sepp won this because the peloton allowed him to get in the break on stage 6.
Yes.
And that won't happen again.
Yeah.
It is
if he's
unlikely
marked
that
in the
that
Vuelta
happens
next year,
again.
yeah.
He might be marked.
He might be marked, but I think everyone that's in that peloton knows a lot more about cycling than the general public, and I
he's
think
still
that
a
they
top
realize
5 climber in the world.
Yes, absolutely. But I think that they realize, like, if he's up there, it's still not Roglic up there.
Right.
It's still not
not
Vingegaard.
Remco. Yeah.
It's
And why
not
did
Remco.
Roglic and Vingegaard not win this? Because the
public
sat
wanted
up
Sepp.
and let him.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that because you
it's
don't
called
want to.
spade
You don't
spade.
want to take away from what Sepp did, which is just freaking amazing.
It
We
is.
just love it here in
It is.
America. That is just fantastic. But
He 1,000% deserved to win that.
Yes.
The question is fair. If he was not on Jumbo, though, does he win the Vuelta this year?
No.
I think no, because I don't think that. I think Jumbo did a good job of controlling the chase.
What
and
team could he have
stopping it.
been on that would have allowed him
That's
to win,
a
though?
great question.
I mean, if he goes to Ineos, maybe. If he
Movistar
goes to
would've been
Bahrain,
good.
he would have won on Bahrain.
Even
the
UAE
Bahrain train was strong in the Vuelta.
And-
they were
and-
very strong.
and Landa, what did he end up like 5th or something?
I think he was fourth.
or
Was
5th.
he the
Yeah,
first guy off the
so.
podium? I mean, he outperformed Enrique Mas, and Enrique had a great Vuelta. So yeah, I think if he was on Bahrain, he would have been. I still think
He was 5th behind Juan.
I still think
UCI.
Roglic wins. I do agree with. I think Johan Bernal was saying this. As much as everybody was giving Roglic crap, Roglic was the guy right behind. I think that Roglic was the next best performer. Yes, Vingegaard's technically second, but I think Vingegaard took some time to warm up into the Vuelta. I think if Jumbo had said we're throwing all of our support behind Roglic, I think Roglic wins the Vuelta this year.
Probably.
Yeah,
But
Good
he
question.
didn't.
I think he was
Good
strong.
question.
But he did not accept it. That's all that matters. Go America.
Awesome.
America.
Can anybody name the last Grand Tour winner from America?
Horner?
Yeah, Chris Horner.
Yes.
10 years
yeah.
ago.
Who did he beat? Does everybody remember that stage?
No.
Vincenzo Nibali. It was a great stage.
yeah.
If anyone wants to look that up.
I remember.
It
seeing
was
that.
not on film because it was on the the Siestra climb, I think, the one that goes into the mist, and the
okay.
feed
Couldn't find
cut
it.
out when he attacked
Oh, no.
Nibali, so it's known as like the attack that never happened. Is what
Yeah.
it's known at. They just cut back in the
I'm-
feed, and Horner has like 30
Horner's up
seconds on
front.
him. Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of people like him. I'm not a fan.
Horner?
Yeah.
Horner was a doper.
Yes.
Yep.
Nah.
That's my.
Also, he
that's
won
my
a
hot
Grand
take.
Tour at 42 after being quote unquote pretty much an average domestique. So
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
just read a book talking
Yeah.
about the guy knows that Chris Horner doped and says it in his book. He was
Here's
like,
the thing. I don't understand how he could do that where we're all like, yeah. That's just not clean. That's not a clean performance. And then he's like, goes on and he's on TV every day, and he's getting paid.
He has a great YouTube channel too. I watch his YouTube channel.
I bet it's good, but I can understand YouTube.
Does everybody want a really uncomfortable question right now?
Another hot seat.
One more hot seat before I know Matt's got to go.
Okay.
If in 10 years we find out that Sepp Kuss and the Jumbo train were doping, do we all feel really dumb right now?
No, we don't feel dumb because
Okay.
I'm going to say that they're highly likely to be doping.
Or something.
Right now.
Or something.
Yeah.
I think each time we see an amazing performance, it's hard to. We all at this table, I know, don't try to say doping right away, but Sepp Kuss did just complete 3 Grand Tours. If Lance Armstrong had done this in 2001, the entire French media would have been losing their mind with suspend this man right now.
Here's the thing,
but it's Sepp Kuss, so he's very nice.
Yeah.
This is the same thing with Tyler Hamilton. I think it was heartbreaking for people when they found out that Tyler Hamilton, because Tyler Hamilton's a nice guy.
Yes.
Right.
Sepp is that same thing, but this man just finished in the top. I think it was 15 in both the Giro and the Tour.
Yes.
Was the guy driving the place on climbs.
He was 10 to 12. He was 10 to 12.
Suspicious.
And then goes and wins the Vuelta. If he's Spanish, are we saying stuff right now? Of course we are. Of course we are. As Americans, if his name was... if he was Jose Kuss, yes, we are all at this table saying this man is doping right now.
Yeah.
But he's a nice kid who's American from Durango, so obviously we're all very blinded by that.
Yes.
But that's a suspicious performance this year.
It is 100%.
He's an amazing talent, and I actually think Phil Guyman says that he's clean. Just for the record, I think Phil hasn't known much what he's doing in the last couple of years, but Sepp's had an amazing progression as a young athlete. And I think he's an incredible story. I so hope he's clean. That's what I hope.
I hope they all are. Yep.
Yeah, I just don't think that I can't look at any athlete and be like, yeah, that person's clean. Like anyone in the peloton, I'm just like, no, probably not. Like it's almost more likely that they're not than they are.
You have to think though that the UCI, hopefully they're clean as well. But you have to think that with the jaded past of cycling, you have to think that they're staying on top of this and they're employing anybody they possibly can to come in and educate them or give them the information or the testing that they need to test these guys. And you also have to hope that they're testing these guys on a very, very regular, consistent basis.
I think they're testing very
keeping
regularly.
samples for future testing because they do that as well, so that these guys know that, like, hey, if you're going to do something magical, something special, don't let this be jaded. So that's what tells me inside that they're probably not doping, but there's probably something that they are using that we don't know about that's not illegal. That's where I think that there's an issue. So
I do 100% agree with Jake. I don't think they're just blatantly doping anymore, but I do think something's going on. Something is happening right now that we're going to find out about in 10, 20 years.
Probably.
I hope it's decently benign, but I do think we're seeing some pretty wildly amazing performances right now. Yeah. We're seeing Remco Evenepoel compete in GC and out sprint guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
almost out.
If this was happening after the Porta affair, people would be calling this right away and be like, "This is doping." Like, there's no way nobody who competes for GC should be winning sprints too. And this is what's happening.
The fact that Remco came back the day after he bonked so badly, that's also not normal.
That's a massive red flag. I was funny you mentioned Kit. So I
said the same thing.
So Kit, was it Kit? I had a buddy who messaged me the day that Remco came back, and he was like, "That's a blood bag." He's like, come on, let's not be stupid. He's like, nobody cracks that hard and then comes back the next. I hate it whenever Bob's always like, oh yeah, sometimes Grand Tours you see guys come back the next day. I was like, yep. In the 90s when they were like,
they got a blood bag.
Yeah, Lance did that a couple times too. You know who else did that? Floyd Landis one day.
But then again, Remco, he was down 7 or 8 minutes when he actually threw the anchor, right? So on that stage where he lost all that time on the Tourmalet, he was down 7 or 8 minutes. He ended up losing 27 minutes because he's like...
Do you think he just gave up?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
I think he's like, okay, I'm out. Yep. I'm not doing it. I'm going to the Gruppetto. I'm going to roll in freaking dead last.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think he was killing himself the whole time.
No.
But he still had a hard day.
He did it again on another stage. He lost like 15 minutes on another stage because he's like, I don't have a shot at the win. I'm out of GC. I'm going to the back. And he saved his legs for another day. But
KOM jersey and stages. Yep. And he got him.
And he salvaged his tour.
Yeah.
Wonderfully.
He did.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yes.
Yeah. Suspiciously.
I think he was used as a pawn a bit.
That may be.
I think Jumbo was fine with it. They're like, cool, he's got tons of minutes. Let him go up and do fireworks up there. And he's racing against guys in the breakaway in the Vuelta. Cool.
Yeah.
But Remco, the bottom line is that once it came down to GC decisions, no, not even close. Yeah. He's not even kind of in the conversation there.
Wait,
right now.
Are you sure he's not in the Big Six?
Big six.
No, it's not even close. I know people love Remco, but nobody ever. Well, no, people do, but Remco fans don't seem to want to take those quotes and shove them back in his face. It was like, really, you want to be the guy who's going to go out there and claim you're that level, and then in the big show this year just flop? I mean, come on, Like, if he went in there and says, I'm one of the best stage hunters and one-day racers in the world, yes.
Yeah,
oh, right.
sure.
You are Remco. Yeah. He hasn't proved he's GC.
Well,
he won the Vuelta. But
he won the Vuelta last year.
That was a soft Vuelta, and we all know
Regardless,
it. That was
won a Grand Tour.
Vuelta.
Won a Grand
so
Tour.
did Carlos Sastre.
But by the same argument, I would, and we all love Sepp, but I would not call him a big six.
Yeah, because he doesn't say he is. That's why we love him.
Right.
That's why we love Sepp.
And he's won a Grand Tour.
Sepp
and
barely said he was the best guy on his team. He's like, I'm just happy to be here, guys. That's why you love Sepp. Remco comes out, he's like, I'm top 6, and then doesn't do anything. The GC is like, I'm just here for my redemption. I'm just emotional. You're like, dude, you can't trash talk and then be the emotional guy the next day. That's not how it works.
I'm going to throw mine out there real quick. Maybe Matt can answer it before he's got to go. I know we've got to get out the door 12 minutes ago. Sorry, Matt. Shimano, they just recalled 760,000 Holotech road cranks due to 4,519 incidents of separation or delamination. That's not good.
Let's go, Shrine.
So here's the thing. Whenever companies do these recalls, first of all, that sounds like, looking at the numbers, it sounded like they had to do a recall.
Yeah. Well, it's still not a mandatory recall. They're recalling them, but it's a voluntary.
I really think that companies, this is my, I've on this podcast, if you listen to this podcast for long enough, you know that I've had a bike crash and it was a bike part failure or whatever. I think that companies should be very careful about having their products on the road with cyclists, that if something happens, they could really injure the cyclist. And a crank, I think, would maybe, like if you broke the crank or if it delaminated a certain way or whatever, then maybe that's not an injury situation.
There were 6 injuries in over 4,500 reported incidences.
That's
so
a lot.
very but only
just
6 in 4,500.
Yeah. Just this season, this year, at the beginning of the summer, David Root, he's a local team director, and he comes out and he does a flogging ride with us, right? He's riding on his lovely BMC SLR 01. It's a wonderful bike. It's got a full-on Dura-Ace Di2 setup on it. He was cranking, came out of the saddle, went to throw down a pedal stroke, and the crank arm snapped in half.
All thread.
Absolutely crazy. And he ended up having to single leg pedal all the way back home. I think 15 miles, if I'm not mistaken, which was kind of a bummer. But
he does a lot of single leg drills, though, doesn't he? Didn't he used to go on those?
He does.
He's made for that.
He's liking that kind of stuff. So, that was something that was kind of interesting. So he was one of these people as a part of this recall. So it sucks. And it sounds like Shimano's doing the right thing. And hopefully, it's funny. I'm getting a text from somebody sending me the same exact article that I'm reading about right now. That sucks for them, and they're going to have this recall. But my question to you guys is, what's the worst recall that's ever happened in the world of cycling? What's the one thing that had to be recalled that was, like, in your opinion, the worst one? Do you guys have any ideas on any of that?
No idea. But it's got to be frame failure, I would think, right? Like anything where...
Whatever Trek had that issue that caused you to flip over the...
They didn't do a recall.
They didn't do a recall. They should have.
They might have recalled a slightly different part.
You were not first guy with that. That was...
I know. What about maybe like a wheel? Like some sort of wheel issue? Because the front wheel goes, that's nasty.
Mavic had a wheel issue?
Yeah, I feel like a wheel issue.
I remember watching some videos on this, and a guy was descending on a road bike, obviously with a Mavic wheel on it, and there was... somebody was with them, or somehow, some way they caught like video or images of it, and the thing just basically imploded on itself. Just
you got to think a lot of carbon manufacturing, like they've changed. It's still changing a lot. Like resins are changing, all of that stuff, the way they're laying up stuff. And if you think about it, like 10, maybe 20 years ago, carbon wheels were failing because you're doing rim brakes. They generated a lot of heat, and they would just fall apart.
Yep.
And so I'm guessing that there's some pretty nasty situations with wheels where, get
I know
those things off the road, people.
I can remember Specialized had an issue with their forks snapping in half. BMC did a recall on some of their SLR1s that fell into a certain serial number range, and that was a full-on, like they didn't do like a voluntary, they just told people to send it back. It was more of a CYA thing, and I'm not just trying to cover for them. It was not really that big of a deal after looking at the numbers. It was only, I think, 2 or 3 noted cases that happened in Europe. There was nothing here in the States, and they just went ahead and told everybody to bring their forks back in. They sent out new ones, and they were, paying the dealers to swap that out, make it all good for the people. I can remember Canyon, I think, had an issue with some handlebars breaking. I think Trek had some issues with a handlebar breaking. Matt had his stem break. Yeah. I just, can you guys think of anything
I don't know
that
anything from BMC or Specialized?
Peloton.
Oh yeah.
Peloton.
What was
Peloton
Peloton's
treadmills.
issue?
They had this treadmill issue too.
Oh, when they were sucking babies underneath.
They
them.
had a treadmill issue, but they also had a seat post issue.
Yeah,
where they recalled like 2.5 million of their bikes.
That's probably bigger than most of the. I mean, if you think about how big Peloton is,
2.5 million bikes.
Yeah, 2.2 million Peloton exercise bikes were recalled.
Well, this is why Peloton had to close all their gyms.
Hey, Matt's going to jump out of here real quick. Matt, do you want to do your one last thing before you get out of here?
I'm working on a video. I'm working on a video about the Apple Watch Ultra 2. It's more of a rant than anything else. So if you like rants,
nice,
fun.
Coming to a YouTube channel.
Come swim with me
I've got to
Sunday.
get it out. That's.
Do you have a cross meet this weekend?
No. You want to swim?
Yeah, swim Sunday with us.
You want to swim open water?
Yep.
I need to do some
way
open
easier
water
for me to swim
testing.
open water right now. So.
All right.
Bye, Matt.
See you, Matt. Thanks for coming, buddy. So you guys can't think of anything that was super bad off the top of your head?
I'm trying to go
like
through big companies. I can't think that Giants ever had a really famous one. Specialized, I don't think has.
Well, looking at this, the second part of the question was like, what was the biggest one? And this has to be one of the biggest ones because 760,000 cranks. That's a lot of cranks to have to
that is
sort
second
out.
to Peloton. I think Peloton's might be the biggest. That's
if you think about it too, like if you own one of those,
biking?
No.
I mean,
if it's an e-bike recall, does that count? Is it really a bike though?
But what's this going to do for Shimano? I mean, you got to think about like, all right, if you're in the market for something with a Shimano group set on it, or you want to change it
twice,
are you A, going to think twice, and B, let's assume that they're going to correct this? Like,
who's really happy right now?
How scarce are those SRAM? SRAM's like throwing a party right now.
SRAM right now is opening up some new like entire warehouse right now. They're like ramp up production right now. They're like,
Shimano,
we need
you're
a million new units right now of force.
Well, how about this, Shimano? You're coming out with 12-speed transmission SRAM. We've had that for a couple years.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we're about ready to come out with 13 probably. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they didn't have a good time during the pandemic. I mean, of all of the part manufacturers, that was probably the one that was most difficult to get stuff from.
Yeah,
and they're finally coming back out. They've come out with their new 12-speed stuff. They've got new GRX stuff coming out, and all of a sudden they get hit with this.
It was a shame because before the pandemic, Shimano, at least when I was working in the bike shops, that was your
That was
reliable.
80,
that was
80% of all of your bikes. And then
that was.
You go and look at a bike shop
happened?
now, it's like almost 50-50 in terms of like how bikes are coming. It's amazing how much
those
market
Shimano
share.
board meetings right now are not fun. I am sure those are very not fun meetings.
What's
at the moment.
funny is that people are so passionate about either SRAM or Shimano. They just get so loyal. I want all my stuff, Shimano because that's what I've been doing and it works for me. And then you have people on the other side that
My
are
grandpappy had Shimano.
Right. And it's kind of the same thing. I mean, both of them are going to have great products, minus this little recall issue with cranks. But, but I mean, you can have a great, decent, fast, well-run, smooth, quiet bike with either product.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do I prefer? I like SRAM because all my stuff has SRAM.
Yeah.
And my biggest issue with Shimano was I had a Di2 that I freaking ripped the derailleur off and it ripped the wire right out of the frame and it was a mess to fix.
There's a lot of things. I mean, Shimano's fantastic. There's a lot of things that I just don't care about Shimano. Like the wires, I don't care for those. When you have the option of using the wireless ETAP stuff from SRAM, that is just nails. It's just spot on. I mean, I've been riding it for.
I mean, I can figure it out.
5 or 6. It's easier. You don't have to worry about the cables. The batteries are so. It's a lot easier to pack.
Throwing in a bike
the
box
batteries
so
are a lot easier to change out. If a battery goes bad, you just throw it in the trash and you go buy another one and recycle it, but throw it away and go get yourself another one. Versus the Shimano one, it's a lot more expensive for starters. Then you got to take things apart and you got to, depending upon where it's at, it's just not easy. And if I go out on a ride and I've always got a battery and Lance is with me and his battery dies, I just take one out of my little pouch thing and toss it over to him because it doesn't take up any space and then he's good to go for the next month.
Correct.
And it shifts really nice. It's pretty bomb proof. There's just so many things. There's one other little thing too that really drives me crazy about the SRAM setup with the hydraulic lines and how they all marry together. It's not if, but when you're going to screw one of those up with the Shimano stuff, because they've got the barb and the olive, and sometimes that olive just doesn't crush in there the right way because you're putting something in there and you're deforming a piece of brass metal that needs to deform just the right way to create this tight seal. And if you do it just wrong, then you're going to have leaking and yada, yada, yada. So that kind of sucks. And that happens from time to time where something like you think is good to go goes out into the wild and the customer brings it back and like, yeah, my brake's all squishy. It's going all the way down and you break it apart. Like, oh yeah, the olive didn't crush right. Versus SRAM, it's a system where it all kind of screws together. And then it once you put it in there, nothing's being deformed really. And it's just, well, a little bit, but hardly at all. But you can take it apart, put it back together and still use it. And it works every single time. We just don't have issues with it. You just have to put it together the right way. Yeah. So anyway, little rant there, but I kind of feel bad for Shimano because they do make a nice product, and this is going to be a huge inconvenience for a lot of people, and kind of sucks. Sorry, Shimano people.
Come on, Shimano. Come on.
Anyway, anything else on that? Hot seat over?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
We all got kind of animated. Yeah. So that means there were good questions.
A lot about guys crashing and doping again, and there's nothing better than that.
Sweet. Lead out. Is Champ here?
Champ here? I'm all about having fun.
Champ's on vacation, and he's not coming. Okay, well, we talked about the Vuelta already. Sepp Kuss won. Hoo-yah! Yeah, that was too cool to see.
You see, Sepp?
We did have the European Time Trial Team Championships. We did talk about that.
Guess who won?
That was
one.
It Ghana? No, it was not. Ghana didn't even do it, actually. No.
Wasn't he the defending champ?
He may have been, but he didn't do it. It was won by that 19-year-old.
Oh, the
Josh,
the guy on Sky,
or
not Sky,
Ineos.
Yeah.
Josh Tarling.
That kid is something already.
Yeah, dude, he's 19 and he won by like 42 seconds.
What kind of character does he have? Though, is he a good kid or is he another?
We're gonna have to see. I haven't seen enough interviews with him. Yeah,
he's 19.
How nice would it be to see him come in here, just be another super nice kid that comes in and just
be great,
destroys
like a Ghana. That's what Ghana is. Like anybody who's seen interviews with Ghana, he's kind of goofy and just this like
he's
kid.
A good dude.
He's just a kid. Yeah,
people.
Yeah.
He won over Stefan Bessinger.
Oh, Bessinger, the EF rider.
Yeah, he won by 42 seconds, and then 43 seconds back was Wout van Aert. So Wout took third. He went for it, but
good for Bessinger.
Yeah,
wow.
He beat Wout by a second, and then they got crushed by Josh Tarling.
Wasn't Wout coming off being sick?
Did Tarling go second? Because that'd be the most disappointing thing. If Bessinger beats Wout, he's like, "I've got this. I have the championship." Then the 19-year-old is like tearing a hole in your time. He's like, "You got to be kidding me right now."
I don't know where they went.
He's like, Küng crashed. I for sure thought I had this wrapped up.
Wout was a bit sick, but he won that Tour of Britain overall, the GC, because there were like no mountain stages. Yeah. And he basically won the Tour of Britain on a flyer, like where he won by like 3 seconds.
Like 2K. Like he got away
1K. 1K.
Oh my God.
And he ended up winning the whole.
Why is that even a week-long race? It doesn't even need to be a week-long race. Make it a 3-day weekend race and call it.
So that's basically it for World Tour stuff. There was the fifth or sixth race in the Lifetime Grand Prix Fitness. Chemakoinen, I'm gonna butcher that. Was it a Michigan race? Michigan, Minnesota. I don't even know where it's at.
Wasn't even the biggest race in the Midwest.
Didn't Keegan win that again?
Keegan did not win the first Lifetime, Grand Prix race this year that he did not win.
He did something else though that he won. There was another might have even been 2 other races.
He did the National Gravel Championships.
That's what I was thinking.
The UCI National Gravel Championships. They held it in Gearing, Nebraska. A bunch of hitters eventually decided to go, and Keegan ended up winning by a couple minutes or something like that.
Wow.
But at Chemakoinen, I said that wrong.
You're not even close. You
sold me on it, Lance.
I'm not even close.
You said it right, maybe the first time.
It's a 40-mile mountain bike race. So this is only a 2-hour race for these guys. So it's a sprint. And it came down to a 15-person up sprint. They were the top 15 people were all in it together in a big wide grassy field sprinting it out, and Alexei Vermeulen got the best of
I gotta go back and watch that. That sounds cool.
Wow.
And the moto was kind of in the way. Like,
oh no,
it wasn't a camera moto. It was like the lead moto. He like couldn't get out of the way. They were going so fast.
Well, this is what we talked about with these races. Like, how are they going to film these and make these like viewable? I feel like it's probably got to get dangerous at some point, unless they just go all drone. But
yeah, you've got some very capable drone pilots that can definitely get like the end of that race and just get the motos out of the way.
Yeah,
that's very simple.
So that was really crazy. That was fun.
Did he get the moto draft?
To see. I don't know if he did. It kind of seems like he did. Like in one of the pictures, you can't even see Alexei Vermeulen because he's
right on the moto.
He's on the other side of the moto.
Oh,
like,
gotcha. Yeah,
like he was passing the moto.
He's smart. Yeah. He probably slingshot off the moto.
So fantastic that somebody got the best of Keegan. You know, kudos to Keegan. But anyway.
Yeah.
What else? We had our first two UCI cyclocross races in America in Roanoke, Virginia, Go Cross. First and second were won by a couple of Europeans who came over, a Swiss guy, and of course Vincent Bastines, who's Belgian. Our current North American national champion Curtis White took fourth both days.
That's not bad.
No, fantastic. And Andrew Strohmeyer, who is a very fast up and comer American who's on the Crosshairs development team, he took third on the first day. So super result for him too. So
sweet.
Yeah, so lots of fun. I don't know what's happened. That's it.
Anything on your end there, Mr. Evan Price?
We had in triathlon. Coming up, we have big draft legal races. So the ITU World Championship is coming up here. I think that's this weekend. This upcoming weekend, I believe. And in America, we had Michigan and Maryland this last weekend. Michigan was actually a great race at the front, not for the mid-pack, but Jackson Laundry held off Lionel Sanders by 10 seconds at the end, 9 or 10 seconds.
Whoa.
It was a close race coming down the finish. Lionel was running him down.
Are they doing the World Championships in Kona this year? Or are they back in St. George?
So
they already had it.
So they had the male world championship was in Nice this year.
And
so
that's done?
It was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
How did
Pretty
we
amazing.
salvage from the whole triathlon takeover?
Absolutely insane cycling happened there. So like Cam Worth got outbiked by a few guys, and one was Sam Laidlow. I mean, went like 4:30 on a course that has 9,000 feet of elevation. He was no lie. Like the times that he threw down, like. If you are to compare this era of full course racing versus 10, 15 years ago, it is a different sport. It's not even the same sport anymore.
Wow.
And we were even talking about that in Michigan. In Michigan, we had, it was everybody in the top 20 was all under 4 hours. And we're just like, that's just the race now. You just got to be fast.
But can you see how them doing this race in September and in Nice, it like missed the world. The world missed it.
So it didn't miss Europe. It actually hit bigger. So here's the thing: is regionally it did great. So Europe, I think the viewership was better than when it's in Kona, but America just lost it.
Yeah,
the women's race is coming up in Kona, so they're flip flopping each year. So Kona is going to be the women's race this year,
and it will be the normal October date or something.
Yeah. Usual October date. So. I think, yes, I completely agree with you guys. I think in North America, unless you are in the tri-world, Nice is going to get missed. But Ironman, I think, is being smart with this because it really ramped up their European viewership. And it was won by a French guy. So it's like, okay, that was big.
I guess
apparently they said in person, there was like, the entire marathon was lined with people.
It was huge.
Because Nice is a big vacation town. They knew that the race was coming.
Who doesn't love Nice,
There was a French guy in the lead, so they're like, the media there was loving it. But yeah, I agree. If you live in Indiana, nobody heard of this race. So yeah.
That works.
Yep.
Cool.
That was it.
All righty then. Champ out. Patrons. We're going to do another drawing. Lance, you want to get that little jar thing going and pull a name out of there? We've got another water bottle to hand out. So we've got a new dialed water bottle made by Camelback. They're pretty sweet, and it's going to go to
Perry York.
Perry, come on down to the lab. Give us a call. Shoot us an email. Whatever you got. Smoke signals, and we'll get you a water bottle. If you are interested in becoming a patron to enter into these drawings, that'd be fantastic. You can go to dialedpodcast.com, click on the Patreon link, select the Patreon that works best for you, and you're good to go. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Let's move on to the... well, we already did the back pedal, so I guess we're kind of done.
We're done.
Last thing.
The whole one last thing. So Matt already went, and it's Evan's turn. Evan, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I have not a lot coming up over the next couple of weeks. I have an MRI, and then potentially a surgery. So
MRI surgery and physical therapy.
There you go. Luckily, I know a few physical therapists,
That's
so I don't need a referral.
That's right.
Stress fractures, what you're thinking?
Yeah. So I really do hope that I'm wrong. I'd obviously love for it.
What else could it be?
There are a couple other things. This could be. I do not think it's a tendon issue. I think what could be possible is I tore my labrum, I believe, would be great. I would love that as an option because I can for sure treat labrum just fine. If it is a femoral neck stress fracture or a lesser trochanteric stress fracture, lesser trochanteric, probably not surgical, which would be great. Femoral neck is going to need to be 2 to 3 pins in the femoral neck.
Hey, welcome to my world.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
You
some
got a couple,
hardware.
don't you, Jake?
3 titanium screws.
Yeah, but yours was sacrum, wasn't it? Oh, was yours
Femoral
femoral neck?
neck.
Okay, gotcha. Now, that was a trauma incident, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
He hit a deer.
luckily
Well,
for
almost
me,
hit a deer.
He just missed it.
I think I would have been better off hitting the deer, but yeah.
luckily for me, actually, that if it is a stress fracture and it's only something they can see on an MRI, the healing is it's going to be a lot easier than that is.
Jake.
So yeah, this is
Jake
a
just
very
showed us an X-ray of the
3 huge screws,
6-inch screws.
Looks like some big old
Yeah.
titanium deck screws is what it looks like, and you can even see the drill bit that's still in there.
Uh-huh.
It's like a little hex thing, and they were just taking the picture of the imaging to make sure that everything was in the right. So they still had parts and pieces. And
hit a reference point there.
yeah.
But no, those are that was probably, did they define that as an unstable fracture to you when they were, did they diagnose it unstable? I assume, since it was from trauma. Yeah. So luckily mine is a stable fracture. If I have screws that need to get put in there, my hope is I'm trying to work the medical system as best as I possibly can at the moment. And I'm going to get hopefully in for surgery next week if that needs to be done. And then I will be swimming hopefully 5 days after the surgery, biking 7 days after the surgery, on the Alter G 4 to 5 weeks after the surgery, and then running hard ground 6 weeks out of the surgery.
Yep.
But most likely your competitive season is done.
Probably. I'm not going to give up on La Quinta yet, which is December 5th, I believe. I'm not going to quite give up on that race yet. I will, even if this is not a stress fracture, I probably will not do Ironman Florida. I had a big Ironman build over the last few weeks, and that's a bummer because I really was excited to race a full Ironman. I felt like I was finally getting in shape where that was going to be, I was capable of racing it. But I'll do Ironman Florida next year. I think that's the course I want to do a full on, so I'm going to wait till next year then.
Dude, even I went under 5 hours on that course.
On the bike? Yeah. Oh, the bike. The bike, if you have a good wind day in Florida, that's
flat.
Fast. Yeah.
It's pancake
Yeah,
flat.
and if I just went 208 on a hilly course, I'm like, okay, I think that this translates to, we were going to be moving. The bike pack I knew we were going to be in together was going to be moving pretty strong. Yeah. We were going to be moving fast, so yeah.
When I broke my hip,
yeah,
I was in the hospital for a couple of days, had surgery, the whole bit.
Yeah,
was 7 days post-op, went in for my visit with the doctor and got released to do physical therapy, and I was in doing physical therapy that day. They had me doing a little bit of recumbent bike work, which felt okay. And while I was at the doctor, though, I said, hey, what's going to be my best protocol? And I've told this story in here before, so sorry if you've heard this before.
I'm trying to remember. No, I actually want to know this. Yeah.
He said, I know you're a cyclist, and actually riding a bike is going to be one of your best friends because you need to get that range of motion back. I'm like, sweet. And I said, well, Doc, I got a question for you. I've got an event coming up in 3 weeks from today. Do you think I could, or from the date of the injury, I said, do you think I can ride on a trainer, indoor trainer? He's like, yeah, we can do that. Just, work with your PT. So I did the recumbent thing 7 days out. 10 days out was in riding on my old Kinetic trainer because nobody had smart trainers back then. And then I asked him, like, well, if I could ride on my trainer and I feel okay, can I also ride outside? He's like, it's gonna be like that.
Don't fall.
Yeah, he's like, you shouldn't, but I'm not going to tell you not to. You just need to be smart about it. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not smart, so I'll be smart about it.
Like, what about a mountain bike race?
And I said, are there any restrictions? He's like, yes, just keep it under a certain wattage and don't get out of the saddle and listen to your body and don't do anything dumb. Don't crash, ride safe, the whole bit. I'm like, I can do that. Yeah. And so, it was exactly 14 days post-op. I went out and did a 35-mile ride outside and felt pretty good. And I still was at the doctor's office asking him about this. I'm like, if I feel good on that and I can get a few more rides in and I've got some fitness that I'm still carrying from this, do you think I could do the Bike MS? Because this was a huge charity thing that I used to do every single year.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what's the Bike MS? Well, it's the Bike MS 150. He's like, what is that? I'm like, well, I would do a century on Saturday and a half century on Sunday, and that would be 3 weeks post-op.
Well, it's not all the same day, you know.
And he's like, you really have to listen to your body. You have to abide by everything. And if everything goes to plan and you can, not crash and promise to like stop if you need to, I guess you can do it.
Yeah.
So,
made it through it.
I did the Bike MS 150.
Yeah, there you go.
3 weeks after
surgery. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what I'm trying to. I mean, I know a guy that it's funny because in the tri world, this unfortunately this injury is not terribly uncommon.
Yeah.
This is in the general pop. This only happens in aging, brittle boned osteopenic people.
Right.
So this is like
Right.
when I was talking with the PA, I was trying to tell her, I was like, I'm going to tell you what I think this is. I don't want to guide care, but like. I was like, have you seen? She's like, well, funny enough, I actually had an ultramarathoner in here not too long ago with this. I was like, okay, this is. I was like, so these areas, even though they require a surgery after the stress fracture, different than a trauma fracture. Actually, 3 weeks out from a trauma fracture is awesome because that's just like bruising and trauma to the area is probably the primary concern from your recovery. Luckily, there's no bruising and trauma in my area, so it's really pretty shocking how quickly if you are a healthy person and not being stupid, and that's I know that I'm keeping myself as active as I can going into surgery so that I have great aerobic system going into this thing and feel great coming out. But I think that's people don't realize how much you can kind of push the bill if you have somebody who's being smart like your doc and not just letting you go do dumb stuff. It's like you can come back from this stuff a lot quicker than people think. Yeah. And funny enough, there's the balancing act of coming back way too soon can be detrimental. But just as equally detrimental, in my opinion, is a really long delayed comeback because then you garner a lot of weakness. Yeah. And when you garner weakness is when people think it was way worse than it was. They're like, I still can't move my leg. Yeah. Well, it's like, well, you were in a cast for 8 weeks. So,
Well, I was in physical therapy every single day for 3 weeks, literally 5 days a week.
And I was riding a bicycle
doing all the things that I was supposed to do. And it was, basically just like playing it to the T.
How long till you could get the incision site wet? Was that less than a week?
Oh, it was. Well, when I went back in, I think it was that appointment. Maybe, I don't know. It was about 10-ish days when I got the staples out and all that other stuff. They said it was fine to do that. And I think we put some Tegaderm over it just for a moment while the incision was still kind of healing maybe a little bit. I can't remember. It's been a minute now since that happened, but that wasn't ever really a question. I wasn't a swimmer. I was just, taking showers and doing all that stuff. So
that's my only question. I get figured out.
Yeah.
You'll
get there. You'll get there.
We'll
so, I mean, it could be worse. You could be
I could also not get a surgery. That'd be great.
Older and deconditioned and dealing with this for the next year. And like me.
That's okay. Just kidding. We all could be 72 years old and fall down the stairs and have this happen. Right. And then it is much longer recovery. Yes. So yes, this is.
So what was your one last thing again?
I don't even remember that. There you go. I got plenty of rehab coming up. I got nothing else going on.
Awesome. Lance, you got one last thing for us?
I do. As soon as we stop recording, I'm headed to Bend, Oregon for the next 4 or 5 days. I got 3 races on the docket over the next 4 days.
Dang.
So I'll be racing here in about 5 hours, actually. And the race is put on by the Horner Cycling Foundation.
Oh, wow. Yes. Do you think Chris will be there? Probably not.
I doubt it, but he might. Chris Horner does live in Bend, and this is his.
I forgot that he does live
in
Bend.
He lives in Bend. Yeah. This is his foundation, and the foundation is just to allow people who don't have access to racing can race. So there's actually no cost for this race. I'm doing the Thrilla cyclocross race.
Man, now I feel bad talking bad about him. You know what, Chris? If you don't, that's okay, man. You're putting on good stuff.
So no cost for the race, but you can donate if you would like to. So of course I'll be making a donation. So I'm doing a little cyclocross race tonight. Saturday I'm doing a 50-mile mountain bike race, the Mike Ripley's Ring of Fire race. That will take me roughly 4 hours or 4.5 hours. This is really does not fit in with my cyclocross racing schedule, but what the heck? I'm going to be in Bend and there's a mountain bike race. I'll just go do it. And then Sunday is Madras cyclocross race, which is part of the series that I'm doing. And so hopefully I won't be completely blown on Sunday from the huge effort on Saturday.
Did they give that a formal, wasn't it like Can Chaser or something like that before?
Used to be.
And they just don't use that name anymore. They're just calling it Madras cyclocross race?
It's actually even in a different location. The Can Chaser cyclocross race was on the rodeo grounds of Redmond, I believe, and this race is actually at a park in Madras. So, and think the Can Chaser is happening anymore. So it's actually the only cyclocross race, only weekend cyclocross race of the whole year in Bend in Central Oregon.
They used to have like the big weekend for Halloween, and they would do it down there at Deschutes, correct?
At the Deschutes Brewery, but the brewery expanded and it took out a lot of the cyclocross area where we could actually do a course. So we can't do races at the brewery anymore, which is a bummer.
Gotcha. All right, well,
that's it.
Good luck this weekend, Lance. Hopefully you don't implode and break and land on the DL with me and Evan over here. And Matt's kind of still on the DL a little bit himself. So
you guys are bad juju right now.
I'm bottom of the totem pole right now. Apparently, I literally have one of the 3 sports I'm allowed to do at the moment.
Can't ride a bike at all, huh?
I mean, I could try and hop on, but I'm not trying to piss it off here.
A little ill-advised, yeah.
Swimming doesn't feel bad, so we're just sticking with swimming for the next couple days.
Crazy. My one last thing is always like kind of 2 things. First, I wanted to thank everybody who came out to the Washougal races this weekend. It was a blast watching the team race. It was a blast watching just a lot of other friends that were out there racing. A couple people came up and said, "Hey, are you Jake?" And it was actually a couple of people. I told Lance about one of it. It ended up being 3 different people that came up to me like, "Hey, are you Jake from the Dial podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, just want to say thanks for, this, that, and the other. And love it, listening." And that was kind of cool. And so thank you for listening and nice to meet you. Lance, you had a couple people.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I had 2 different people that came up to me that I'd never met before that said, "Hey, I love listening to your show and thank you guys for doing it." And so that was cool.
It's always
so
nice,
thank you guys.
Nice to know that it's more people than just our moms listening, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And my mom doesn't listen, so that's good.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if any of our mom, I think my mom might listen, but
does not.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a blast, and I should have all my photos up pretty soon. It was a lot of photos, and it's a lot of work to go through all of that. I took over 2,100 pictures.
Holy heck.
Which is a lot. Anyway. And the other thing was we have the Zaldercross race coming up. It's the series finale of the Harvest Cross put on by Zone 5.
3 weeks? 3 weeks.
3 weeks. It's on October 8th or 7th or something like that.
October 8th.
October 8th. And that is going to be the series finale. They're going to have like a huge raffle for everybody that participated in all of the races. I think you get a raffle ticket for coming out, and there's going to be a bunch of cool prizes that we're pulling together. And I think the guys at Zone 5 are getting some other stuff donated, so there's going to be a lot of fun things given away. They'll do not only the podiums for the race days, but the overall series winners. So if you're in contention for that, come on out. It's just a fun party. And I think everybody who showed up to the race this weekend from our team to kind of just be a part of the party that we had and to watch our teammates experience cross for the first time. And they got a taste of what it is and like, oh, this is pretty cool.
This is cool.
So go out, check out a cross race, cheer people on, heckle people, whatever. Just do what you do and have fun out there and come say hi and good times.
Good times.
Yeah. Anything else, boys?
That's it.
All right, Evan, hope you feel better soon. Seriously. It sucks. I know how you're feeling right now. So, anyhow.
I'm going to get your crutch for you so you can walk out of here.
It's okay. I'll do my single leg squats to get over there.
All right, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with another one. And until then, bye for now.